Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Anybody there?
Good morning, Professor.
Good morning,
Hey, good
Professor.
morning,
I
Jason.
actually had a question for you.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
it's not really about the
yeah.
class.
Who
It's
who
just
has a
about
question? I'm
it's
sorry. Who has
Jordan.
a question? Is it Jordan?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
It
What
was just
what's your
about the
question?
it was about the vaccination. The vaccination. Like
Yeah.
when you're submitting it, like I don't really know how to submit it.
Um, there must be a link on the BMCC website.
Okay. So I'm gonna check there because I thought I
So
had to
you
specifically submit it to this class because this is
no,
like my
no,
only
no.
hybrid
Look,
class.
think about it. Class is just class. I'm not an administrator. I'm a professor. Whatever is the administrative aspect of the college, you'll have to talk to the registrar or the relevant office for that matter. So either there must be a link on the BMCC website, um, or otherwise you inquire directly with the registrar, right? Um, Okay, let me see. Something's not working here. So let me open it again so that process. I think I'll have to close and one of this and this. Okay, then open again because that was giving me a. So in our last class, right, we talked about the uh, how to find the municipal bond with tax effect. In other words, after tax restore. No, I don't need. So basically, we since we all understand that the municipal bond is tax exempt, right? And so, how do we compare the municipal bond with the corporate bond? So only either one of the two ways. You make the corporate bond, uh, you find what would be the after tax yield of the corporate bond, okay, and compare it with municipal bond. Well, we can do that easily. We did it yesterday, last time, and also how to uh, either that or convert the muni bond yield to equivalent corporate bond yield. So that means we can um, by doing this we can uh, convert muni bond yield to equivalent taxable bond yield, right? Now, one thing we left out because we ran out of time, and it's a good thing we still have two more classes. Uh, Tuesday, Thursday class. The last day of class is the this Thursday, the 9th, but the last day of class for Monday, Wednesday class is next Monday. So we'll have just two more classes, uh, and the next Monday is our face-to-face day, right? Again, some people wonder, do I have to come on that day? I have all, proof of vaccination. Yeah, you should. If you have proof of vaccination, you shouldn't have any problem coming to BMCC in person. But even if you don't come in person, you still need the proof of vaccination to validate your grade from this class, from any class, right? It's the state policy, city and the state policy, and there's no way around it. But as I said, some people might say, what if I'm not able to come in person on that day? Well, I've been telling you this over and over. Well, if you have attended, if you have had perfect attendance, meaning um, you cannot have perfect. I mean, you can have a perfect attendance, but up to three absence, up to three absences. I've been telling you, I give you grace period of up to three absences. So if you haven't used up your those grace absences, three grace absences, I mean, you can exercise your option to be absent. I mean, if you have had perfect attendance so far, you're entitled to one absence. I mean, that's something you can uh, you can do at your own discretion. It's just like taking a sick day. But anyway, the point is, the last day, Monday, December 13th, will be in person. We'll be meeting at M. Murray Building, 1009. I don't know if it is a computer lab or smart classroom. I'll find out on that day. But we'll see you there. And I also posted instruction about what to watch and what to read on that day. Right? You must have got that email, because that's the last day. We're not gonna be talking about the regular topics anymore. But where did I put it? I must have put it somewhere here. Yeah. Oops. What happened? Why isn't it showing? That email must have gone out. I must have. Where did it go? Oh no, maybe I did. Oh no, that's fine. I didn't have a separate. I didn't post a separate announcement of because it is already on the last day. What to watch and what to read for that last day. It's there. And these. Okay, this is. So we're done. As far as the actual topics are as of today, we're done. I mean, this must have been since last Wednesday. This must have been there since last Wednesday. And then these are off the official contents, but these are very interesting videos. I want you to and also if possible, I would like you to read this. This is Warren Buffett's 1984 paper. He is, but if you're interested, please. So, so the next is tips, right? TIPS is short for Treasury Inflation Protected Securities, right? So the reason for this is, as you have noticed, Treasury pays very low coupon. Not only low coupon, I mean, because it's the safest, and the safest borrower doesn't have to pay high interest. And also because of this low coupon, the yield is very low, right? Compared to a corporate bond, there's almost 10 times, tenfold difference between uh, the treasury and the corporate bond. So and since earlier this year, the inflation has accelerated. The inflation currently is at around at around 5%, which is significant compared to and oh yeah, I think I also um, I posted the link there. You see this? This is in the bonds, folder, bonds topic, bond valuation, CPI as of October 2021, right? Energy alone, 30%. I mean, year to year. So since October last year, right, to October this year, energy sector alone, inflation has been 30%. All items, almost 6.2%. All items, right? Less food and energy. So this is like PCE, personal consumption expenditure, PCE. Still 4.6%, almost 5%. So this is crazy. Food items, 5.3%, right? Then think about it. Just 5% inflation means, if you are if you have if you're holding, treasury bond whose yield is not even, 1%, that means you are negative. Your treasury return would be negative 4%, right? We talked about the negative interest rate early on, what it means. So if you're a treasury investor, if you're a treasury bond holder, definitely this is a bad news, right? You're not. Okay, that's one of those videos, of money, power, and Wall Street. This is a very interesting video. I hope you all would watch it. Uh, that wasn't what I wanted to. So uh, so obviously, if you are a treasury bond holder, then you are totally unprotected from the inflation, right? You will have like negative 4%, real return on the treasury. So then that, although U.S. Treasury is the safest asset in the world, that will lower the demand for treasury. So what they came up to compensate for that was TIPS, Treasury Inflation Protected Security. So how does that work? They simply adjust the par value for inflation so that uh, if the par value is adjusted, I mean, if the inflation is 5%, you adjust the par value by 5%. So, $1,050, and the interest paid, if the interest is 10%, that is also automatically adjusted, because normally if the coupon interest is 10%, if that is the case, annually it will be $100. I mean, 10% coupon interest is wonderful, but let's say um, but if inflation is 5%, you want to be compensated for that inflation. So if the par value is adjusted by 5%, so par value is 1,050, then 10% of that will be $105, right? Makes sense? So in other words, your interest payment is also compensated for inflation as well, right? That way, that's how it works. So that's the idea behind it. So let's see how. Let's take a look at the example first. Let's see what this is. So do I need to create a new? No, maybe not. I'll just keep using this. I guess this would be. All right. Okay. So here's the example. TIPS is indexed to inflation in 1997. Now, why 1997? First of all, any index number must have a base year, and the base year for CPI is actually 1984. 1984. It's actually 80 to 84. Multiple years, 80 to 84, and that means the CPI of the base year is 100. Okay, and then think about it. 1982 was almost 40 years ago, but why 1984? That was the bottom of the recession that followed the stagflation of 1970s. 1970s were plagued by the inflation, prolonged inflation, and it was called the stagflation because usually when there is inflation, that means you understand inflation is not necessarily a bad thing. Of course, I've been telling you, it's if the inflation is demand pulled by demand, right? And as long as the inflation, obviously, if the demand pulls up the price level, I mean, strong demand will pull up the price level. It goes without saying, strong demand will pull up the price level. And strong demand is the sign of a vibrant economy, right? If the demand is depressed, that's clearly, a dying economy, right? So it's inevitable. Inflation is inevitable of growing economy. But then I've been telling you over and over, inflation is only good as long as the it is less than the economic growth rate. If the economic growth rate is, the economic growth rate is, sort of like an average of everyone's income, right? Economic growth rate is like, everyone growth rate of everyone, average of everyone's income growth rate, if you think about it, right? So if growth rate of the income is 10%, but inflation is 5%, this is not a problem. But if it is reversed like this, right? If this is 5%, but this is 10%, then that's the problem, right? So as long as it's like this, um, but then think about it. The same thing also applies. Your yield from the bond, right? If the yield, your yield from the bond or return from the bond is greater than inflation, no problem. Although inflation is eating away, right, some of your return, right? On the other hand, if this is the case, of course, it's the problem. Hence, tips, right? We need tips. Uh, and 1984, as I said, 1982 through 84, this period is when uh, uh, the economy bottomed out. Uh, so as I said, 1970s, the entire 1970s was like this, right? Entire 1970s was like this. So then from the 80s, the new, administration, Reagan administration came in, and then they implemented tight monetary policy. By curbing the money supply, they wanted to cool off the economy, and by doing that, inflation, they will curb the inflation, and it worked, right? Um, and the recession, so the recession followed the stagflation of 1970s, and then it hit the bottom uh, around 1982, and then it didn't recover very quickly. I mean, in 1985, the recovery was, quite visible, but until like through 84, 82 through 84, that was, recession era in the modern history. So they used the recession period as because it hit the economy hit the bottom, and then only recovery happens after that. So they used 1980 to 84 as the base year for CPI, and the more recent, if they pick, okay, 1982 was like 40 years ago. That was kind of too long to use as the base year. Well, then second base year point is 1997. Why? In 1997 there was not Black Friday, what they call Black Monday. And it's not a shopping spree. Black Monday means it's not Cyber Monday. Black Monday means the stock market crash of 1997. I wouldn't call it crash, but stock market really suffered in around September. I think it was Monday. I think it was Monday in September. One Monday in September 97, and the market crashed. So the economy, the recession followed. Brief recession, only about less than a year. But that's the another time when the economy hit the bottom. So as they sometimes they use 97 as the base year. Okay, so that's why 97 is used as base year. And so at maturity, investors receive inflation-adjusted poverty. I already explained this. Consider a 10-year TIPS issued on January 15th, 2007, paying 2 3/8% coupon. And I've been telling you, this is the peculiar way, the 30-second system, right? The 30-second system of the Treasury. This is a peculiar way they quote bond price, and also the coupon rate on Treasury. We know how to convert it into a regular percentage. It's going to be 2 point something, right? The CPI for these bonds is 201.66. Now, let's just, approximate it as 201 or 200. That means compared to 97, using 97 as the base year, right? The CPI of 97 is 100. Then compared to that, CPI of 2007 is 200. That means what was the inflation between 97 and 2007? Can anybody answer that? Let me put it here.
You said the inflation rate of 2007, right?
Yes, what's the inflation between 97 and 2007? And let's just assume, and this was what? 216, right? What's the inflation between these 2 years? So that's actually a 10-year period, right? That's already 10-year period. But just think about it. Ignore 1. Just consider that as, roughly.
Roughly around 6.22%.
6.21.
22. No, six.
Yeah.
No, 2 point. Inflation rate was 2.85%.
No.
No. 6.22. 6.22.
Where did you come up with, 6.22? How did you come up with 6.22?
All right. No, not that. Okay, never mind.
Consider this roughly 200, right? Consider this roughly 200. Then what would be the inflation between the 2 years? Anybody else?
200. Let me.
Anybody else? I have how many people? I have 11 people here. Alisa, are you there? Alisa?
Yes.
Alisa, what do you think? What would be the inflation between 97 and 2007? So that's like over 10 years. What would have been the inflation over 10 years? How about? Yeah, go ahead, Alisa.
I got it. I believe it's 8%.
Yeah, Jason.
8%.
Yeah, Jason, you got it. 8%, Jason. So I'm gonna give you 0.5 for that. Yes, of course. Think about it. Inflation is nothing but growth rate in the price level, right? So index.
That's right.
That's the index, price index, right? Consumer price index. So that's the price level. What's the growth between these 2 years? Roughly, then 216 minus 200 over 200, right?
So what you do is you find the difference. You get 16.
Yes, this is like capital gains.
Cross multiply.
In other words, this is
I cross multiply. You got 1600. Then you divide it by 200, and you get the answer.
There's no cross multiplication here. There's no cross multiplication, but this is the change, isn't that right? This is the change in CPI, right?
I did it in a different way. That's how I got it.
Yeah, but no matter how you got it, but this is how you find the growth rate of anything, isn't that right? This is the base year CPI initial, right? Base year, and the target year, or whatever, our year in our right. So then it would come to like 8%. I mean, when we have more exact number, then it's just we will get better, right? More precise, but it's roughly 8%. That's how you calculate the inflation, right? For any growth rate, that's how we do that. So then in that was 2007, and in 2010 CPI was two. Okay, so I'm sorry. That was like so this was like I made a mistake, but this was not 97. That was actually doesn't matter. This is 2010. This is 2007. So in other words, over 3 years, it's not 10 years, over 3 years, the inflation was 8%, right? And then
That's pretty
basically
high, though.
over 3 years, yeah, it was over 3 years. Yeah, it's pretty high. I mean, over 3 years, if it is, um, remember, Federal Reserve's target inflation rate is 2% a year. So if the economy behaved, right, if the economy behaved as the Federal Reserve expected, each year, 2% inflation would grow over 3 years, raised to 3, right? And then minus 1. If economy behaved as Federal Reserve wanted, the inflation over 3 years would have been 6.1%. So compared to 6.1% expected, right? Inflation was a little higher, right? Than it would otherwise have been. But, because 1997 is the base year, then 1997 is 100. Then between 97 and 2007, over 10 years, then inflation must have been 100%. Isn't that right? That's what it is, right?
Right.
So we know that the inflation between the 2 years was 8%. But if you calculate it correctly, right, it would be 7.231%. If you using these numbers, right? Using these numbers, so you divide this by this, then that will give you 1.07231, right? It will give you, and then minus 1 will that's the gross inflation. If you subtract 1, then it will be net inflation, right? So then you are making adjustment to the par value by inflation. In other words, if inflation over 3 years was 8%, then to the par value of 1K, you make that adjustment. 1.08, it will make the par value $1,080. Okay, but here the exact one was what? The exact inflation over 3 years was what? 7.231. 7.231. So then you will come to 1,072.31. Make sense? So you make this adjustment to the par value. So if you redeem the bond at this point, or if you actually redeem is what the borrower will do, the bond issuer will do. I mean, if you sold this bond at this point, right, you get this, and the interest rate is 2 point something, right? And think about it, a coupon rate, and since coupon rate on this treasury was 0.027 something, right? 2 and 3/8 of a percentage is 2.375. Then the annual coupon will be then 1,072.31 times 0.02375. And if you do that, right, you'll get 25. Let's calculate it here. 1,007. What was that? 2.31 multiplied by 0.02 to what? 375. That will be your adjusted annual coupon, right? That's your adjusted annual coupon interest. So 25.47. Okay, that's annual, but what did I tell you? Bonds pay coupon how many times a year? Anyone? Bonds pay coupon how many times a year? How come nobody knows this? This is a disaster. No. So Cora, are you there? Cora Frumman?
Yes, Professor.
Yeah, Cora. How many times do the bonds pay coupons a year? How many times do they pay interest? Say it again. Cora. Okay, I'll pass it on to Felicia. Felicia, are you there, Felicia? Felicia? Okay. Jared, are you there, Jared?
Yeah.
Yeah. How many times do the bonds pay interest a year?
Twice a year.
Twice a year. You're right. You're right. Why didn't you say anything then? Huh?
I thought you were asking the other people. Sorry.
But you can you know, you can, volunteer. You can spend. Okay, Jared, you got 0.25. You don't need to be unnecessarily shy. I mean, you're almost at the, end
Don't
of
be
the
shy. He
semester.
won't bite you.
You're almost at the end of the semester. What do you have to lose? If you don't give any answer, or if your answer is incorrect, then you lose nothing. But if it is right, you earn points. What do you have to lose? So Jared, you got 0.25. Yes, bonds pay interest twice a year, so that means every 6 months. So each coupon would be half this, right? Right? Then you just divide it by 2. So so this is what TIPS is doing for you. Okay, so semi-annual, right? Coupon. Just divide that by 2, and that will come to something like 12 point whatever, they got here. But I will divide this by 2. 12.73. Okay, this way you get protected from inflation, right? Simply adjusting for inflation, okay? And making that adjustment is not a difficult thing. Where was my PDF file? Yeah, 12.73. Okay, not a big deal. Even a seventh grader can do this, right? Even a seventh grader can do this. Okay, if there is any question about the tips in the final, you should not, you should get it right. We haven't, so next is, valuation, because that wraps up everything about the institutional aspect of the bond. No more institutional aspect, but now we're going to be on the mathematical aspect of the bond valuation, right? So we know there are coupon bond and zero coupon bond, and zero coupon bond is zero coupon bond is the bond that pays no interest. Therefore, it must sell at discount, right? So by selling at discount, the investors get the capital gains, although there's no interest, but they will get capital gains. But that portion works pretty much like interest. You're not getting. So here's an example: bond with par value of 1,000, maturing in 20 years, and price to yield 6%. Might be purchased for about 306.56. So this, they already gave the answer. How did they come to 306? We'll talk about it later. But price to yield 6%. What does that mean? Price to yield 6%. That means this is the discount rate. Now, this is one thing about the problems, the wording of the problem. No problem actually words it like, there's no such thing as use this as discount rate. This is the discount rate. They never say it like that. The way it is worded is generally threefold. One way is one way is the bond is priced to yield 6%. Okay. Another way it is worded is similar bonds or the comparable bonds pay 6%. Similar bonds or comparable bonds pay 6%. What does that mean? Similar bonds, comparable bonds. That means bonds of the same risk class. Bonds of the same risk class. Okay, similar bonds, comparable bonds mean bonds of the same league, right? Bonds of the same risk class. So if the bonds of the same risk class are paying 6% on average, that means on average, right? It cannot be. So then this bond, the discount rate for this bond, and because that is the average, this bond most likely should give you 6% return, and then you discount it by that. And the third way it is worded is the prevailing market rate. So the prevailing market rate means actually, oh, isn't that the bank interest rate? In general, unless it was just a general statement, it would mean yes, bank interest rate. But think about it. Everyone has, if you're borrowing money, right? If you're borrowing money, everyone, every company, every entity has different credit rating. And depending on the credit rating, your risk class is determined. If you are high risk, then you're at the bottom of the credit rating. If you're low risk, you're at the top of the credit rating. So bonds that belong to let's say triple B class or single A class, double A class, triple A class, they all have different average rate for that average return for that class, for that risk class. So when they say a prevailing rate means prevailing rate for that class. It's just like similar bonds, right? Similar bonds pay something similar, comparable bonds. So that means in other words, that's how it is worded. They never say use this as the discount rate. Okay, so then how is this calculated? This is a straightforward single cash flow model, present value of the single cash flow model. Oh, then you might, so we discount this 1,000 by 1.06 raised to 20. Yes, that's not entirely wrong, but actually what is correct is like this. 1,000 over 1.03 raised to, why? You might wonder why. Wasn't the discount rate 6%? That's right, but you got to remember, and wasn't it 20 years? That's right. But look, you got to remember that the bonds are on a semi-annual cycle. Bonds are on a semi-annual
cycle. It has to be
40
instead of 20.
Right. In other words, over 20 years, there will be 40 semesters, right? 40. And a half-year rate will be 3%, not 6%. 6% is annual, right? Annual return. So a half-year return, 3%. So and if you do that, you get 306.56. Makes sense? This is the zero coupon, how you do the zero coupon. And then, how do we do the coupon bond? And for coupon bond, we're out of time, so we're going to talk about that in the next class. Okay, the time is what? 11:51.
11:51.
Okay, so the time's up. I'm going to have to
Thank you,
stop
Professor.
All righty. Any more questions? Any questions? All right. If there are no more, yeah, Novia, yeah, you had a question, right?
Professor,
Yes.
next semester you got to give business 220 online or will be person to person?
No, I don't do business 220. Currently, business 210. There is one section under my name business, one section of business to 10, but I won't be teaching that because um, I think it will be in person. I don't know, but I won't be doing that because I'm already over the limit. I mean, I cannot teach
Oh,
more than 5 classes per semester, and I have already hit the limit. It's just under my name. Somebody else will be teaching that.
oh, okay.
Okay.
I saw
But
that.
if you're a finance major, you will need to take FMB 230 and 300. I'm teaching FMB 230 and 300 next semester. So if you're a finance major,
Will be in
um,
person?
huh?
You
Oh
going to?
yeah, 230 will be in person.
Mhm.
230 will be in person, but 300 will be online because that 300 is on Saturday. It will be online.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so
300
much.
is online, 230 in person. All righty. Any
Thank you
more
so much.
Hi,
questions?
Professor. I have a question.
Yeah, Natasha. Yeah, go ahead.
So you know how in the previous exams there was an option to like check your work once before
Uh,
moving on to
uh,
the next question?
uh-huh.
Will there be that option in the final exam?
Yeah. In all exams, it's already built in. I already pre-built that into the exam. So yeah, there will be like a check once option, right?
All right,
Check your
thank
answer once. All right, you're welcome. All righty, then have a great afternoon, everyone. I'm gonna
Thank you.
stop
You
you
too.
sharing.
too.
All righty, I'm gonna stop sharing and